Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another episode of 6 Film Runs, where I try and identify directors that have 6 amazing films in a row. Today we're going to talk about the greatest British filmmaker of all time, Michael Powell, and it's not even close. Obviously famous for his collaboration with Emmerich Pressburger to form the Archers, and who made some of the greatest films ever made, strangely enough. So where to make their 6 film run? But I'm going to go for 6 years in a row, a film a year, from 1943 to 1948. And just think about what was going on in the world between 1943 and 1948 in these films that Powell and Pressburger were making. This might be the most impressive 6 film run in history. Obviously, it helps if you like the films of Michael Powell. But we're going to start with 1943. Let's just start with a masterpiece, The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. Again, one of these films that we have Scorsese to thank to get it back to the original length it should have been, because for years it was cut. Churchill wanted it more severely cut, i.e. destroyed. But thankfully Churchill didn't get his way on that matter. It's just one of the greatest films of all time. Everybody should be aware of that. Then 1944, A Canterbury Tale, which bizarrely is not on DVD, not on Blu-ray, which is a bit of a disgrace, because as I've said before, every Michael Powell and Pressburger film should be on Blu-ray just as a matter of British historical importance. Canterbury Tale is one of those films that I've underrated for years. It's one of the films you don't watch that often, but it is absolutely excellent. And then 1 year later, they made I Know Where I'm Going. Again, bizarrely not on Blu-ray. Criterion really needs to sort that, or whoever has the rights now. This is, again, it's one of those films you don't watch as often as you should, and then when you watch it, you just realise how magical it is. Again, a really simple story, but beautifully mounted, beautifully acted. You know, Powell loved the Scottish Highlands. It's just a wonderful, magical film, and one that needs to be put amongst their best work, because it is. And then 1 year later, I mean, the next 3, you could argue, forget 6 film runs, this might be the greatest 3 film run ever, as far as a film a year. 1946, A Matter of Life and Death. And this is so good that it's probably a masterpiece, and it's not in my top 5 favourite Powell and Pressburger films. That's how good their catalogue is. Again, it's like, make a film to help US and British relations, and of course Powell and Pressburger just go off and make something about heaven and earth, of course. Then a year later, Again, just remember this is a film a year that we're doing at this point. Black Narcissus, arguably my favourite Powell and Pressburger, but that's always up for debate. Let's Go to the Himalayas, but not really. Nuns Go Crazy over David Farrar's shorts, and that's Sweet Sweet Wind. Just incredible, absolutely gorgeous. Kathleen Byron as one of the great screen psychos. Deborah Kerr is just absolutely fantastic in this film. Everybody is. It's just absolutely beautiful, and one of the greatest films ever made. Period. And then 1948, 1 year later, oh, let's just do The Red Shoes. Of course, why wouldn't you just finish off the 6-film run with one of the greatest films ever made? Certainly, arguably the greatest film about art and sacrificing for art, giving up your life for art, which is always a common theme with Powell. What you sacrifice for the thing you're most passionate about. Again, brilliant performances. Anton Walbrook and Marius Goring, who obviously appeared in quite a few Powell and Pressburger films, and Moira Shearer. It is just one of the greatest films ever made, and the fact that they were knocking these films out one a year and making some of the most beautiful films ever made is quite astounding. And it is a disgrace that they were never really appreciated at the time, because they were ahead of their time, and obviously people who are ahead of their time generally never really get the credit at the time. And again, it's probably Scorsese's greatest achievement that he became friends with Powell, and he was a driving force in getting Powell and Pressburger films back to their proper condition or proper length and getting them released again. So thanks very much, Marty, for that. Yeah, a 6-film run that is just stunning. Obviously, if you don't like the films, you won't agree, and that's fine. But please let me know where your 6-film run of Michael Powell would be, if he has one. And hopefully you'll join me again for more episodes of 6-film runs. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.